Hello everybody, welcome back to Hellchaser's Hub. I'm your host, Robert Jones, and today we are doing something that I haven't done in a while. The last time I did a video like this, I recorded all of them at once, which was like a 6-hour recording shoot, and it was me doing all my Transformers stuff. But now that we've gone through all the ones that I already had at that point, I'm going to go over new ones. I'm going to be able to go more in depth and kind of show more what they look like and can do. So today, for my first one of those reviews, we are doing Transformers Legacy United Animated Universe Bumblebee. Now, I grew up watching the show, and I've got to say, they did an excellent job of recreating his vehicle mode, and the robot mode too, as you'll see later. And like, the wheels are all pinned on, they roll very nicely, everything kind of compresses very nicely and tucks in. And I love the way he transforms. It's very reminiscent of how he does in the actual show. And I am doing all my own editing right now. I'll see if I can find a clip of him transforming from the show. See if I can find that and put that in here. If I can't, I've tried. But he does transform very similarly to the show. And then for size and scale comparison, he actually matches up pretty well with the Studio Series Bumblebee movie B127, which is, like, that Bumblebee is obviously a lot bigger scale. He's able to do a lot more, even though in that movie he was really tiny. This Bumblebee is even smaller, and they're the same size class. But, as you'll see, I think they're about the same height when transformed, so that shows how well this Bumblebee compresses. And then, different size comparison, we've got the Sparkless Bot from the Netflix War for Cybertron Siege toy line, and did an excellent job of, again, kind of doing that scale with the dots and mold. I really only brought him here because I wanted to compare him alongside the Studio Series Battle Damage Jazz, but I don't have the patience right now to go through transforming that figure. This one's a lot easier to do, and I don't have to do them back and forth. But yeah, so there's that. And, yeah, it'll be kind of interesting. Now, he does also, Bumblebee here does also come with his iconic stingers from the show. I grew up watching the show. These are awesome to me. And it's supposed to come, like, the instructions show male and female port on the inside, but it looks like they accidentally packaged mine with 2 male ports. So in the show, he combines them together to get extra power, and the female port would obviously allow you to do that, but you can't with 2 male port ones. So I'm not able to, like, recreate that iconic like, stance that he has in the show, where he puts his hands together, because obviously they transform into the stance. He puts them together and is able to do, like, one big blast. And that is really disappointing for me, because, like I said, that's iconic. I'll see if I can find a picture of him doing that and put it up on screen. But that's about it for his vehicle mode. You can kind of see, I love all the detailing. Not a huge fan of the clear plastic, just because I know it's a bit more brittle. And then he's got these jet boosters that came out of one specific episode that he brought back later on. I'll see if I can put a picture of that up. But the detailing is pretty well done. The only real issues I have with the alt mode here is if you don't have the rockets on, it's got this part here that looks really bland and plain. There's obviously that port. And then, like, the detailing here just doesn't really match up. And if you look at just the undercarriage, the hands stick out just a little bit, which isn't a huge issue. It's just a minor thing for me. Other than that, though, I love it. Like, they did an excellent job of coming back to this design and remaking it from the ground up. Focus the camera. There we go. And now we're going to get into transformation a little bit. And it's fairly simple and straightforward. First thing you're going to want to do is take the door panels, kind of pull them apart and down from everything else. And then can take these and pull them out on this hinge and forward, and do the same thing on the other side. Sometimes it's a bit sticky. There we go. Then you can take the entire back end and just pull it up and fold it in, and there's this part here that'll peg right into the hood. Just like that. And then you can take the entire front of the car and move the arms out of the way and pull that down and turn it around. And that's how the legs will be formed. And then in order to finish the arms really quick, I guess, you're going to take these here, these components, and you'll flip them around and then close the doors on top of them, and then you've got the arms, and of course do the same on this side. Bada boom. And then to kind of finish off the top half of them, if I can get this in an adequate placement. There we go. Gotta just pull these down a little bit. You can kind of see how his head is tucked in there, and this is all there. All you gotta do is pull the front half of the windshield down, and then get his head to come out. And there we go. Now all we have left is the legs. And I'm not used to this setup, so yeah, that's why I'm not trying to do, like, the camera, it might get out of angle sometimes. You're gonna separate getting back to this, I guess, you're gonna separate the legs. You're going to take these tabs here and fold them out, and they'll form the heels. And then you're gonna spin them around, take these, fold them out, and then twist it around. Do the same. You can kind of bring them back around here. Before anything else, you're going to want to take these tabs here, flip them up, and they'll be like the kneecaps, which is a very neat design, I think. And then take his feet, fold them down, and then put these in place. And there we go. We've got Bumblebee fully transformed, and his weapons are scattered all around him. Again, you're supposed to be able to basically put his hands, take the doors open, flip them back around into the vehicle mode configuration, and you'll have these little pegs here that'll peg into some ports on there, and he's able to put his hands together, and if you have the right pieces, they will combine into one, and it'll look like he's firing something cool. Again, I'll put it up on front. Other than that, this figure is very, very accurate to the cartoon. One thing that they did add is with these the jet boosters, you can actually plug in, and of course these actually work on mine because you don't need the female port. You can plug in the stingers to the end of the rocket boosters, or you're supposed to be able to. Come on. There we go. If you want him to have like a dual-wielding blasters type thing, so he can do this. Fly, get out of here. Ah! Ah! No! Sorry about that. And you just plug these parts into his hands. I've never actually tried this part before, so it's that. There we go, into his hands. And now I've got to struggle with the other one. And there we go, he's got like a couple stinger blaster type things, and they're really cool. But yeah, we can set those aside. And now for articulation. Okay, so for articulation, his head, we'll start with the head. It can, because of that hinge, it can look up and down pretty well. And then it's on a ball joint, but the way that it's constructed, it doesn't have that much there, and also mine is really tight. But he can look around, and that's about it for the head. He's got nothing in the wrist because of the way he transforms, but he's got an elbow bend that can basically fold inwards, and then he can do that to go there. He can twist at the elbow, and then because of the transformation, he can like shrug. So that's kind of neat. He's got ab crunch because of the way he transforms, which is really neat. He can kick forward that far. Is it? Also, that doesn't quite look right to me. I'm doing this off of memory, not looking at the instructions. Oh well. If the instructions say different on a copy that you guys end up getting, cool. If not, I don't see it really mattering. Focus camera. There we go. He can kick out to about that far, forward and back, all the way. He doesn't really have a lot of foot movement, but because of the way he transforms, he can do back and forth. But there's no, there is ankle pivot. That's neat, but it doesn't really work that well. And you kind of have to rub this part against here, so some paint chip might come out of that, so I won't mess with that too much. And that's basically it for his articulation. And so we'll do some like size comparisons. Focus camera, come on. It doesn't like the black and white backdrop. But bringing back in B127, he's a little bit taller now that I'm looking at him side by side, but not much. So that vehicle mode for Bumblebee here does do a great job of compressing him, and he's like a lot taller than you'd think he would be, and a lot cleaner looking. Like between the two Bumblebee designs, obviously I grew up with this one. The Bumblebee movie didn't come out until more recently. It was like 2020 maybe? I have no idea. And they've been making designs like this for a long time, but they got the proportions down perfectly for Bumblebee here. Meanwhile, B127 has really big legs and really skinny arms, and he kind of suffers from the same thing that Revenge of the Fallen Megatron did. But this Bumblebee does not, and his proportions are on point, which is amazing. And next, kind of bringing in the Battle Damage Prowl, which is the same mold as Sparkle Spot. A few slight differences because they're made several years apart. And Bumblebee is kind of in scale with even G1 type stuff, because Bumblebee was always one of the smaller bots. I'm gonna get that Studio Series 86 Bumblebee, that's the one from the 86 movie. But I believe he's actually smaller than this Bumblebee. And yeah, that's about it. I'm gonna probably go through some poses and edit those in at the end, maybe with some cool music. I have no idea. I've never done one like this with this much detail, focusing on one figure. So this is kind of a test run. Again, I'm planning to make this a once-a-month thing, and we'll kind of fall into how it goes after that. But if it sucks, I apologize. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and if I do a pose, enjoy the pose test.